So today I'm going to be doing a match review between the Sydney Thunder and Melbourne Stars, going through in chronological order, and then looking at some things that are probably relevant for Supercoach. Let's get started. So Sydney Thunder batted first, and after a poor first two games in which he could only manage 10 runs, Alex Hales looked pretty good at the start. Striking 3 fours inside the first over. The Stars, however, proceeded to bring on a few spinners for the remaining 3 overs of the power play, and this proved to be a great move, as the Thunder restricted to 17 runs in that time, and Maxwell also struck with the important first wicket of Whiteman. After this, the wickets of Gilkes and Hales also fell pretty quickly. The partnership that ensued saw an attempt by Billings and Ross to rebuild the innings, but they couldn't really get started and didn't really score at a huge rate. I think they scored 25 off 34 balls. That partnership finally ended as Billings was dismissed by Qais Ahmed for the second time in just 2 games. The Stars continued their great bowling, trying to hit the top of the stumps, obviously at a good length, and then mixing it up with some slower balls, which were really effective as well. As a result of this, by the end of the 17th over, the Thunder was still going at only 6 runs per over, and looking like they'd barely reach a score of 130. However, this was when they started to accelerate. So in the 18th over, went for 15 runs, because Sam stepped back to a few length deliveries by Zampa, and just muscled them straight back down the ground for 2 sixes. Ross then stepped it up again, starting the 19th over with 3 consecutive 6s, then a 4, and eventually, after 11 more runs in the 20th over, the Thunder actually managed a pretty respectable total of 151. So Alex Ross finished on 77 not out, which is his higher ever BBL score, and continues his great start to the season with 155 runs, a strike rate of 146.22, and he also hasn't been dismissed yet either. So onto the Stars innings. So Stoinis started out pretty slow. He blocked his first 3 balls, but quickly made up for this with 2 great cut shots for 4 off the last 2 balls of that first over. Clark again went out early, edging to the keeper. Just 2 balls later, Larkin was what I thought was plum LB, but the umpire didn't actually call it. But this didn't really matter though, because he was dismissed shortly afterwards anyway. So Maxwell came in, started off slow as well, and because Stoinis was also going pretty slow, trying to build his innings, their run rate dipped to just 5.33 at the 6 over mark. Then Maxwell started to accelerate, and though he was riding his luck a little bit, because I think Hales dropped him once, he still managed to boost the run rate back up to 7.54 per over by the 11th over mark. So it looked basically like the Stars had it wrapped up, because it was a pretty small total, and yeah, obviously they were playing really well, had Stoinis and Maxwell in. But then enter Tanveer Sangha, who bowled a maiden over, in which he dismissed Stoinis and Maxwell in consecutive deliveries. The game looked in the balance again, but then Andre Russell came out, and he had a huge strike rate. He blasted, I think, 5 6s, and got the Stars home pretty easily in the end. And also a pretty good partnership with Cartwright, who hit a few 4s at the end to seal the game in just, I think we got it done in the 18th over. And so what's Supercoach relevant about this? So I think we've seen Ross and Sangha definitely had pretty good games, and considering they're pretty cheap, they might be pretty decent options. They're both probably projected to go up to about 135k after such good performances, but with no double anywhere in sight really for the Thunder, I just don't think it's really necessary to get them in. And I mean, especially for Ross, who we've never seen really this type of scoring before, so we don't really know how sustainable it is. If you are looking for someone from the Thunder, though, it should probably be Alex Hales, who's proven himself before as one of the best batsmen in the BBL over the last 2 years, and I think is projected to go down to about 115k after a few bad performances early in the year. Also, Daniel Sams, obviously he's still pretty expensive now, but like he's been playing not great over the last few games, so his price might come down pretty quickly, and you could look to get him in, because obviously, as an all-rounder, we know how good he is with both the bat and the ball. I'd say if he gets down to 150k in the next few weeks, he's definitely a good pickup, even though he won't have the double game for a while. So now looking at some of the Stars players, obviously we've all got in all of the Stars that we want to because of their double game, but it's just which ones we might be looking to offload for their buy next week. So I think, which ones we'd like to be keeping even though they have a buy next week. So I think Clark I'll definitely be keeping because he's not very expensive, so it's easy. I don't have to waste too much money on the bench. And then, yeah, I think a few good innings, plus he's getting a fair few catches behind the stumps. He should rocket up in price if he has a few games there. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And also Adam Zampa. My head says I should probably trade him out, but my heart says I definitely want to stay with him. Just because, I don't know, he's such a good player. He did so well in the T20 World Cup. And he's just lost so much money for me, and I find it hard to admit that I've made a mistake on a player, and just leave it at that. I kind of want to chase my losses, see if he can make the money back. So yeah, I'll make a decision on that in my round review. But that's pretty much all for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. But also, when you are subscribing, just remember to click the notification bell so you do know when I upload. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.